So,
There's some good shit today.
yeah, last night, we had Fight Night Brunson versus Shahbazyan. And I feel like a lot of weird stuff happened. I mean, I think first of all, we had the lowest amount of fights on a single card in one night. I believe there was 9 or 7, 8, 9. How many were there?
Is that like a record?
Yeah,
I
I,
don't
I
know
think it
about
might be
that.
because I know one of the fights, one fighter tested positive for COVID. I'm not sure
Right.
exactly what that was, but I know that got canceled. And then
Ian
the other,
Mershart.
yeah, and then Miles fainted before his fight, and then I guess we had some other stuff going on with other fights where they got
Giles, I think
or
his name
Giles,
is.
yeah,
Trevin Giles,
yeah,
or Giles, or however you say it.
yeah,
The
and
dude
then
from Scarlet Letter.
yeah, and then the co-main event and the main event, both of the fighters that were supposed to win lost in I would say devastating fashion. I don't know. Maybe not with Joanna Calderwood, but you
Dude,
know, it's a weird night.
she looked bad, and then she passed out
Oh
um
yeah,
backstage after her fight, which is weird. Like if she like got like brutally knocked out, I'd be like, well, doesn't sound that unusual. But she lost via armbar, and then she passed out. So I heard 5 people passed out last night. Not 5 fighters, but 5 people. I don't know how true that is. We definitely know Trevin Giles and Joanna or Joanne Calderwood did. Um, and according to Ariel Helwani, they kept Giles in the hospital overnight, which is a little concerning. But
jeez.
Calderwood went home. Yeah, very weird night. I'm not sure if it was the lowest number of foot. We definitely have to check that because I feel like the back when they were on Fox, the FS1 cards, they may have had lower numbers, but I'm not 100% sure. You'd have to look into that, but it's definitely one of the lowest. But I'm not gonna lie, I didn't hate it. It got done like quick. There wasn't a lot
Yeah,
of it's not like when you watch Bellator and there's 8 fights and it takes 17 hours to get through it. Like, I don't mind a short fight night. It'd be different if it was a pay-per-view and we,
yeah, I
paid
could get
for it.
behind that.
I didn't mind the short fight night. It was a weird night. Things felt off. I don't know. It was they're calling it UFC Vegas 5, by the way, which I still hate that. You can call it UFC Apex 5. I'm okay with that. Don't call it UFC Vegas 5. There's been a cajillion UFC events in Vegas. The hell are you talking about? Just because it's in the Apex doesn't mean you can call it UFC Vegas.
I feel
Get
like
out of here with that.
they're just using that as a marketing tool. They know the name Vegas sells more.
But
But it
Apex is a
doesn't. Yeah,
cool ass
Apex is
name.
yeah, and it's their own facility too. They love that. They want to let people know they have that. So it is kind of weird that they don't use that as the title of the event. You know what's
There's like
even the weirdest part about that night was that Herb Dean didn't let anyone die. He was actually pretty good. I was very surprised.
well,
Wow.
you could say Edmund Tarvergian didn't do a
Oh,
terrific job in stopping his fighter Edmund Shahbazyan from taking a crazy beating, and he probably didn't need to go into the third round. I know Dana White was kind of ripping the doctor uh, in the post fight press conference. He was talking about the doctor in between rounds and like how the dude was just kind of like talking to him like, so you think you're okay? You want to continue? It's like, dude, what the fuck do you think he's gonna say?
yeah.
Like, he was there talking to him for like 5 minutes, and he's like, what? Like, the guy's not just gonna. I mean, in some cases this happens, but an all star like Edmund Shahbazyan, these guys are top tier. They're not just gonna like tell you like, actually, I feel terrible, and I would appreciate it if you stop this. Like, you kind of have to do that for them. That's what your job is, right? As a
Right.
corner person or as a doctor or as a referee. I think it was Herb actually that ref that fight. I thought he did a fine job. I think it was a definitely a good stoppage in the third round. But Tarverdian probably could have stopped it or the doctor could have stopped it in between the second and third. Didn't really. The dude was almost out cold. He might have been out cold at the end of that second round when Derek Brunson just laid those nasty ground and pound shots on him that he was not even attempting to defend. I mean, they were getting through so easily. Like, he was done. Speaking of Edmund Shahbazyan, one thing I wanted to bring up is I saw a lot of uh, MMA media guys this week saying like, maybe he's not all that bad, and we need to start thinking about like he gets shit on too much, and maybe we need to give him some credit and put some respect on his name. And Tarverdian, I'm talking about, not Shahbazyan. And I'm just like, man, I still can't get behind this dude.
I don't think I
I
agree with
still
you.
don't like him.
I don't like him either.
I still think he's not very good at what he does. Between Ronda, between Travis Brown, and then last night with Shahbazyan, I'm like, because everyone thought, Shahbazyan was going to go in there and wipe the floor with Derek Brunson, and then they're like, you really got to put some respect on Tarverdian's name. Dude, I don't know about that. I think the guy is subpar. I think he's kind of a joke amongst the MMA community. Uh, he's not as bad as like Diego Sanchez's coach, but I'd say he's worse than Latoria Gonzalez because she did a terrific job. Hey, we got to give a shout out to Latoria and Mike Perry. They're expecting a baby boy.
Very excited. Our good friends Mike Perry and Latoria, I couldn't be happier for them.
Congrats.
There's no drama at all going on with the Platinum Princess or anything. It's the perfect time to announce this. What a time for Mike Perry.
Oh boy, yeah, he put out a tweet. I think it was yesterday, saying like, "Hey man, I'm gonna change. I gotta be a better guy for my girlfriend and my unborn child." I was like, good for you, Mike. Yeah, things are looking up until Platinum Princess comes out with those domestic abuse allegations. Then it's all down the shitter from here on
my
out.
man Mike Perry would never lay a finger on anyone, He's not a violent person at all.
That's true.
He's a good dude.
He's a pacifist.
Yeah, he doesn't believe in that, so
yeah.
I don't know where all the stuff's coming from.
Khamzat Chimaev said he would kill Mike Perry if he ever touched his father. Because he was talking about how Mike Perry and Conor are both quite famous for assaulting old men. And Khamzat was like, he ever touches my father, I kill him. I don't know what brought about that conversation or that specific example, but hey, maybe one day we'll see Mike Perry and Khamzat Chimaev. That would be interesting. We're never going to see Khamzat Chimaev and Conor. I'm tired of that conversation, but
I'd still like to see it. But back to
Khamzat and Conor?
Yeah, because I mean, it's obviously there's a big discrepancy in terms of experience and skill, but that doesn't mean the style is any less bad for Conor, you know what I mean? There's always that chance. So I think it would be fun, but I don't want to. I think that's the most illogical move for both of them. I don't ever see a world where that happens, with Dana being on board with it. It just seems like a horrible business move on all fronts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a bad idea.
Especially when you have people like Tony and Jorge willing to fight Conor and stuff like that. Even Dustin Poirier wanted the rematch, I believe. So that just makes way more sense than a newcomer with 2 fights in the UFC. And yes, he looked fantastic in them, but they weren't exactly high-level people like these other folks that I'm mentioning, you know what I mean? So it's but Edmund Shahbazyan, back to him and his coach, Tarverdian is just, ever since he tried to convince Ronda that she was Floyd Mayweather, I haven't been able to respect him. I think he did quote that and say that she was on a similar level to some of these high-level boxers and stuff like that. And then you see Ronda going out here and just trying to box like with people like Holly Holm and then Amanda Nunes, and then you just see her getting absolutely destroyed. And I haven't been able to respect him after I don't want to say he derailed her career, but he drove it in the wrong direction, in my opinion. I think that he could have done a much better job with her, and now maybe with Edmund, you're seeing a lot of holes in his game, So it's hard to respect him when he's made so many errors in the past, and he still seems to be, making a little bit of errors here and there in the present,
He was screaming at Shahbazyan.
All I heard was head movement. Head movement.
No, he was screaming. And during the in between rounds 2 and 3, he was screaming at him. Now, I'm not saying that makes him like a bad guy or anything. Like that might work for like he might know Edmund Shahbazyan and know like, hey, if I just start screaming at him, yeah, it'll wake him up and he'll go out there and uh, perform better. They know they're fighters. Maybe that works for him, or maybe Edmund Tarverdyan's just a fucking idiot, which I think is a bit more possible. But another coach I think is worth talking about is that actually this guy actually doesn't get enough recognition and respect, and that's Derek Brunson's coach. I think it might be his new coach now, Henry Hooft.
Mm-hmm.
Henry Hooft is fantastic, man. Like you gotta start looking at this guy as one of the top coaches for this year. I mean, you got to put him up there with like Trevor Whitman and the hell's his name? Javier Mendez. Is it Mendez? Javier.
I think it's Javier Mendez.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
AKA guy.
Yeah.
Or ATT or whatever it is. Yeah, I think Henry Hooft is a fantastic coach. As far as Shahbazyan, we were talking about last night how this is every young up and coming prospect has their day like this, where they take on a veteran, a guy that has had some notable wins, but also some really notable losses in his career. And we see this young up and comer who looks untouchable. And we often think that the young guy is going to wipe the floor with the old guy. And sometimes that is the case, but then sometimes it backfires like it did last night for the young guy. And this isn't necessarily, he did take a bit of a beating, so it's not all good, but it is sometimes a good thing when these younger guys have these like coronations where it's like, oh, okay, so this is what the top level looks like. I was on a rocket ship all the way up these rankings, but now I've kind of hit a wall. And that could make or break. So this is the stuff that determines what champions are made of, right? This guy, Edmund Shahbazyan, is either going to learn from this and come back better, or he's going to just kind of deflate. And like some of the other people that we thought were going to be stars, I, for one, think he will be back and he'll be just fine. Like he's gonna give him another few fights, and I think he'll be back on track. He's gonna learn tremendous stuff from this loss to Derek Brunson. The question is, who do you think Edmund Shahbazyan takes on next? He currently sits at number 9. Of course, that's not updated. We'll have to wait to see how those rankings shuffle around a bit after last night. But what do you think's next for Mr. Shahbazyan?
I really don't know because it kind of boils down to what you were saying about how he's going to bounce back from this. Because a lot of times when these people are rising like this and they're on the high of their lives, and then they get shut down, they kind of, like you said, two things could happen. They could bounce back or they don't. I think he will. I'm not exactly sure who to give him though. But that being said, I don't think a loss to Derek Brunson is that much of a bad thing. I mean, I know I myself counted Derek out, but this is a guy that's been in there with like people like Izzy, you know what I mean? Like he's a top level guy, and I think
Staple
Edmund is
in the
too.
division.
Yeah, it's not like a horrible thing to lose to Derek, you know what I mean? It's not like this is an unranked opponent and someone who just came off the street. And I will admit, I should apologize to Derek. As soon as I saw his hair, I was like, he's done. It's over. You lost the fight. I thought this man was out of his mind. But he was phenomenal, crisp, good gas tank. He is a 5-round fighter in the end, and I think that's the difference between Edmund and him. And that just boils down to raw experience and raw time in the sport. This Derek's been around for so long. I don't know where to put either of them. I'm not gonna lie, because you saw Derek fight Izzy, who's the champion, and didn't go too well. I think he took him down once, but shortly got knocked out after that. So it's kind of hard. I don't know where he stands with that. You know what I mean?
I think you give Edmund Shahbazyan, I think you give him Marvin Vettori at number 14. I think that's someone that's a little bit more at his level, in terms of experience and in terms of just Yeah, I mean, it really just boils down to experience. These are two guys that are up and coming in the division, Shahbazyan and Vittori, and I think that would make for an interesting matchup. Vittori looked good against Carl Roberson, but we'll see how that goes. As far as for Derek Brunson, honestly, what about Yoel Romero?
Ooh,
I mean,
that's a
Yoel's
spicy
been a bit of
fight.
a gatekeeper in the division for a
Yeah.
long time.
You-
To multiple title contender. Looked kind of awful when he fought for the title most recently, but
I mean, a win over Yoel would kind of cement him back up as a contender, in my opinion. Yoel's not an easy guy to get past, and that kind of proves to me that you're ready for the championship status. So that's
yeah,
that's that's not bad at all.
because above Derek you have Yoel, Darren, Kelvin, all of those guys coming off losses. Then above them, you have Jack at number 4, Jack Hermanson. And number 3, you have Jared Cannonier, and then you have Paul Acosta, Robert Whitaker. All those guys, I think, are tied up in
Mm,
the title picture, and I would not necessarily have them fight someone as low on the rankings as Derek Brunson. Derek Brunson's going to move up the rankings. He might be right behind Jack Hermanson by later today. I don't know. The rankings are very, very strange, but I wouldn't mind seeing Derek Brunson take on any of those three guys that are coming off: Darren Till, Kelvin Gastelum, Yoel. I don't think Darren Till would be a bad idea because he didn't lose in a devastating fashion. Right? Like that Rob fight, that Whitaker fight was pretty close. As far as Kelvin, man, I don't know what to think about him. We didn't see much of him in his last performance, right? Like he
hmm
looked pretty flat against Jack Hermanson, and he got caught up in that heel hook like really fast. So I don't know what to think about Kelvin Gastelum right now. And then as far as Yoel's a wild card, man. I never know what to think about Yoel Romero. It depends on which guy you get. Which Yoel Romero are you gonna see? Are you gonna see the guy that absolutely annihilated Luke Rockhold, or are you gonna see the guy that barely engaged with Israel Adesanya? I don't know. I'm glad I'm not a matchmaker
It's
because
tough. The middleweight
it's
division
very
is tough.
tough,
Yeah. There's a
very
lot
tough.
of good guys here, but unfortunately, a lot of them are tied up at the moment, so it's kind of restrictive on who you're giving them to. I think Darren and Brunson would be a fun fight. I think that's a really good one, but I also like what you're saying about Yoel
Who?
and Derek too. Darren
Derek.
Till and Derek Brunson would be good
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah, I like what you're saying. You got some good matchmaking skills here.
Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
terrific. Sean Shelby, McMahonard, I'm coming for you.
Oh, they're shuddering in their seats right now,
No, they're significant. We as MMA fans think we know all the best matchups, and we
and we
think we
do.
know how the cogs are gonna move. No, we don't. These guys are
Yeah,
good at what they do.
it's their
They
job,
really are.
They
Look
they
at
they get it.
Bellator and look at boxing and tell me matchmaking is easy because those guys don't know. they they fumble it up time and time again. But UFC matchmakers, those guys do a terrific job, and a lot of times we see matchups that we didn't even think of, and then we see them and we're like, oh, that's a great like right now a fight I did not see. I wouldn't even have dreamed of this. Derek Lewis taking on Alexei Olenek. I absolutely love that fight. Would I have ever thought of making that? No. Like never. And I love it. Like that fight is I'm so excited for it. Um if we look at women's flyweight right now in our co-main event last night, we had Jojo Calderwood lose pretty quickly by submission to Jennifer Maia. I believe it was an armbar, correct? Towards
Yes,
the end of the first round.
it was a
Dana is
nasty
saying
one too.
Jennifer Maia is next in line for Valentina. I want to be honest with you. I look at these women's flyweight rankings right now. I don't see a single person that gives Valentina a tough time. Really, I'm sorry. I thought Calderwood looked very flat last night. I mean, she's not getting the title shot anytime soon, so that's out of the question. I thought Jennifer Maia looked good, but Valentina is a different animal. That's the problem a lot of times with these women divisions is that the person at the top is just miles ahead of anyone else in the division. The only division that's I think that's not the case would be women's strawweight, and that's not because Zhang Wei Li is a joke of any. She is incredibly dominant, but you have a lot of women in that division that are serious threats to her, like Thug Rose, like Joanna. Even though Joanna lost that fight, it was one of the greatest fights of all time, and Joanna put on a terrific performance. And you have Tatiana Suarez and even someone like Claudia Gadelia or Michelle Watterson or Carla Esparza, like, and how could I forget my new favorite, Amanda Hebos?
Oh, of
You have
course.
a lot of competition in women's strawweight, but at flyweight, man, I don't know if any of these women touch Valentina.
I
Do
don't
you,
think they do. No.
no?
Jennifer Maia looked good, but not good enough to take on the queen.
She looked
Valentina's,
good against a very flat opponent.
yeah, and I mean, it's it's a Maya we're talking about. You don't go to the ground with a Maya. They're gonna
I
submit
thought
you.
the same exact thing
I don't
last
know what
night.
Calderwood was thinking there. She's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I mean, it's bound to be a bad idea to go into the guard. So that being said, I
Yeah.
think Joanna, she's great as she is. I don't think she makes the best decisions in her fights. And Jennifer Maia is just she's a really sweet girl, and I loved how excited she got when she won. She's clearly really passionate about the sport and about her, performances, but it's Valentina Shevchenko. She's a Russian hitman. She murders
Yeah.
people. You know what I mean? She's a
Yeah.
different species of human. And I don't see it. But you got to give her someone, and she tweeted out saying you're next or something like that. Say basically like, I'm
Yeah.
ready to fight you. So it's probably going to happen. So,
I mean, if you're Valentina,
yeah.
yeah.
And here's the
let
thing.
me
I
let me
mean,
get paid.
here's the thing. It's like a classic Damian Maia situation where not on par striking wise, but she could hold her own on the ground 100% with Valentina. You know what I mean? So
Maybe.
I don't think it'll be a terrible matchup, but do I think that she gets Valentina to the ground? No. If she does, it becomes a little more interesting. So I think that speaks a little more than anyone else on the roster right now in women's flyweight. So I mean, it's not the worst, but like you said, probably not gonna really be very competitive overall.
I find it interesting that we like completely forgot about Cynthia Calvillo. I don't mean we as in you and I mean like
Everybody
like
else,
yeah,
that
like
matchmaking, yeah.
Dana like immediately Dana last night. Oh yeah, Jennifer Maia's next. And it's like, whoa, what? I mean, I would have thought Cynthia Calvillo would have been next, but
Surprised he didn't say,
okay.
well, we got to go back home and think about it. Yeah, wait
We
till we
gotta
get
go
home.
on. We got our meeting on Tuesday, and
Well,
I
we'll let
don't
you
know.
know.
Maybe something's going on with Cynthia Calvillo that we don't know about. Maybe she's hurt or
Yeah, I
whatever.
mean,
But
with everything going on now, who knows? A lot of fighters are wrapped up. It's a weird time. I think they give
yeah,
her. I think they give Valentina DC next. Honestly, he's the clear, undisputed
yo,
contender.
interesting thing I saw today. Speaking of DC, they're having him uh alter fighter stats in the UFC game, UFC 4, like after the game comes out. So like the game is going to come out,
Oh,
the stats are going to be what they are, and then as events and stuff happen, DC I guess is going to be in charge of altering rankings and
wow.
stats of fighters in the game. So fighter we'll see
That's
how
a very
much
good idea on paper. I hope they
yeah,
execute it
on
well.
paper, we'll see how it works out and if they actually make any significant changes. But like, say, they have, I don't know, Zabit as he's this stat, but then he goes and he destroys every featherweight and then becomes featherweight champ, we may see him improve in the video game to where he is better to use. It's quite interesting.
The problem I have a lot with the UFC games is that they are out of date. You know, you play
Yep.
UFC 2 and you have like these top contenders in that game. The best fighters are just not currently anywhere near the best fighters in the actual sport. So it's a good direction that they're doing that. Will DC completely obliterate John Jones' stats?
That's what
Who
everyone was
knows?
saying.
I
They were
don't
like,
know.
he's gonna put John and Stipe at the worst fighters
Yeah.
in the game. Nah,
I can't believe that John or Stipe and DC are fighting in 2 weeks. That seems like incredible to me.
Jeez. Is
I
it
don't
that
even believe it.
soon?
Yeah, it's the next. It's not this
Whoa.
next fight night, but it's the one after.
What is the next fight night? I ain't even
It's
bothered
Alexei
looking.
Oleinik and Derek Lewis. It's so good, isn't it?
Yes.
I haven't looked at the undercard, but I remember it was pretty solid. And then
Featherweight is finally shaken. Or featherweight, Jesus Christ. Heavyweight is finally shaken up. Oh my lord,
Chris
Matthew.
Weidman is on it. Wow.
The co-main event. Omar Akhmedov and
Oh.
Chris Weidman. Oh no.
Chris Weidman is gonna get knocked out in the walkout.
Chris, no.
I love Chris, but I don't know why he continues. He can't take a punch. His chin has disintegrated.
I like this fight that opens the main card. Beneil Dariush and Scott Holtzman. I'm a low key Beneil Dariush fanboy. I like him a lot.
I think he's
like
really
watching him.
entertaining to watch, and he's
Yeah.
a good talker too. So it's like
Yeah.
you know, it's a good one.
The prelims are nothing to write home
Nah.
about, but that's okay.
I mean, on the Stipe card, we have Junior Dos Santos and Jairzinho Rosenstruik as the co-main. That's gonna be a firefight. I like that a lot.
And then
Sean O'Malley, Marlon
Magomed Ankalaev and Ion Kudalaba. That was the fight that got stopped like really early. Do you remember that? Kudalaba was like playing possum a little bit and was like kind of like I don't know, like stumbling. But he was standing up the whole time, and Kevin McDonald stepped in and was like, "It's all over."
I think
Do you remember that?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah,
He reeked of cigarettes and alcohol when he stopped that fight. Word on the street.
Oh man, UFC 252. That's a good main card. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's solid.
Sean O'Malley, Cheeto Vera, and Pedro Munoz, Frankie
Cheeto, my
Edgar.
man, got robbed of that decision against Songdu. I forget his name. Songdu Chong or something. I feel like I'm butchering that name.
You probably are.
That's one of the first.
Song Yadong?
Maybe. Yeah. Actually, I think it was Song Yadong.
Yeah.
He got butchered out of that main
Yeah,
event.
Song Yadong.
Or that main event, that
Yeah.
main card fight. But we got some good fights coming up. But back to the Shahbazyan card. You want to Calderwood, Jennifer Maia. We'll see what happens there in terms of what happens next, because Dana White's a little bit fishy. Sometimes he says, "Hey, Jennifer's gonna get the title shot," and then Cynthia Calvillo gets it, and you never know what's gonna happen.
Sometimes he says UFC is practicing all the proper safety protocols, and then Gilbert Burns corners a fight.
Oh yeah, I miss my man Gilbert. I miss him so much.
Excuse me, sir. What are you doing in the arena tonight? You were COVID positive like a week ago.
I like when Derek Brunson spit out all of his water all over the camera, man. I'm just thinking like, oh, he must have loved that.
Was that Derek? I think that was Bobby Green.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, that was Bobby Green.
Yeah.
Sorry. Very similar in terms of, appearance.
Yeah, they're both black guys. That's what you're saying.
No, they have like the same exact frame.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know?
They have tattoos and like similar
The
stuff.
only problem is Bobby Green's got a much different beard. He's got that like wave beard going on. I think it's pretty cool.
Claws or like shark teeth in his face. Yeah, it's
Speaking
cool
of Bobby Green, he fought Lando Venata last night.
That was a good.
Did you know
fight.
that? It was fight of the night, I think.
Fight of the night. It was
really
a
good.
Real good fight.
I was very sad to see my man Lando get creamed in that third round and eventually lose the decision. But damn, Bobby Green is satisfying to watch. He keeps his hands low. He doesn't gas out.
A lot of trash talk.
A lot of trash talk during the
between
fight.
both of them. I liked it.
Crispy striking, on both guys. But Bobby Green just seemed to have a better gas tank, and he kept the snap in the punches throughout the second and third, while Lando kind of slowed down a bit. Let's be honest here, you know.
Here's what you do with Bobby Green, who just had a great performance, but a controversial one. Not his fault, but it was controversial nonetheless. Francisco Trinaldo, he beat Bobby Green via decision in 2019. Now Bobby Green is on a 2-fight win streak. A few weeks ago against Clay Guida, and now pretty convincing performance against Lando Venata. I think you got to run it back with Bobby and Francisco. Make sure Herb Dean ain't reffing it.
Don't want to see another murder.
I would not mind that fight one bit. Francisco is on a... Let's see. Francisco's also on a 2-fight win streak. So back in 2019, he got the decision win over Bobby Green, but then he lost to Alexander Hernandez via decision. And now in 2020, just like Bobby Green, he's on a 2-fight win streak. Think you gotta run that one back, boys.
Mm-hmm. It makes
Dude, Francisco
sense.
Trinaldo is 41. Oh no.
He doesn't look or act 41. He's pretty, like, I don't want to keep using the word crisp, but he looked crisp, didn't he?
Yeah, no,
he was fresh, like a carrot.
He was losing a lot of that fight against Jai Herbert.
Yes, but he never lost his stride. He kept going till the end, and he made it work, you know?
He did win. Herb Dean let him kill a man, so that was cool. Anyone else that stuck out to you last night?
Oh my lord, Vincente Luque and Randy Brown. Is it Vicente?
No, it's Vicente.
Oh, I was gonna say that's pretty cool. That's like Italian, but yeah, Vincente Luque never fails to perform well. I will say, most of his fights end in devastating fashion, and this one, no question there. It was a violent finish, if I would say so myself.
Very brutal.
He kneed him as he was slipping a punch down and trying to reach to the ground to avoid the knee. He got kneed in the worst possible position.
Randy Brown,
and he kind of just died after he got hit with that, and then my man Vincente just started blasting. He wound up on those punches. Oh my god, basically hitting an opponent who was just not fighting back at all, and that was just brutal. That was the worst possible thing that could have happened to my man Randy Brown. That was bad, and he was holding his own throughout the fight. But
Vincente always comes out just with a nice game plan and just turns it into an absolute war. He was piecing up Randy Brown with those leg kicks, and I think I want to say his leg was so compromised that's why he was dipping his head a lot. He was trying to like close the distance and like not get stuck with the jab and avoid those leg kicks, and then he was just dipping his head down a lot, and then he tried touching the ground to prevent any knees, and before his fingers could reach the mat, that knee came flying from outer space. And
I think he pulled him up, Vincente. He said, no.
Yeah.
He kind of pulled him up a bit to get his hand off.
That's a smart move right
there.
That's
fight IQ right there.
That is an experienced guy that's been in a lot of wars and is always looking for a violent finish. I wish he would get hit a little less, because he gets hit a lot in every fight. But I really like him, man. I may have been pulling for him because I may have had a $1 or $2 bet on Vicente Luque, so I was
insider trading. Get this guy out of here.
Shout out to FanDuel for that free $10 that they gave me, but I can't cash out because I only won 5. And they won't let you fucking withdraw.
Yeah, so instead of rebetting the 15 you have now, you just shut down the account, right? You cut off your losses, or you cut your wins off, I should say.
Yeah, I just broke even, and I was like, whatever. No harm, no foul, no gain, no loss.
Oh, you broke even. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't lose anything. Because they gave me like 10 free dollars for signing up, and then I won 5, so I had 15.
That's like high roller money. That's make or break.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm heading to
crazy.
Vegas like tonight, and
God damn.
I'm betting it all, dude. Uncle Dana, watch out! I'm gonna be like Colby Covington coming into the casino,
Oh man.
ready to gamble with all your
That was
prostitutes.
the most awkward exchange when went up to Dana at the blackjack table and started like
Yeah.
calling him a weasel or something. What a legend. That dude is insane.
Oh, speaking of Dana, there was something I wanted to bring up. So Dana reacted to the Dan Hardy Herb Dean situation, which we talked about last week, and he basically said if that ever happens again, you're done. Like I'll fire you on the spot. Which I was like, whoa, that's pretty serious. Um, but he said if anyone was to approach an official or like yell at them during a fight like that, like a ref or a judge, you would be fired on the spot. Like you're not gonna work for the UFC again, whether you're a fighter, whether you're a commentator, whether you're a ring girl, whatever you are. What did you think about that? What did you think about what Dana had to say about that?
I like that Dana is taking a solid stance. You know, he's not kind of playing both sides, which is
Mhm.
nice. It's transparent. Um, I think it's a good thing overall that he didn't do anything about the Dan Hardy thing directly. Because, I mean, in the end, it wasn't really either person's fault solely. You know, I think both parties were wrong in their own different ways. So it's good that he's not, like, punishing Dan Hardy per se and punishing Herb Dean. But I like that he's taking a stance to prevent it from happening again. Because that kind of thing, it doesn't really help anyone. You know,
Yeah.
it's really not the commentator's job. It's the corner's job. You know,
Hmm.
and Herb Dean he posted that video and he was saying that it was causing a lot of confusion and he didn't know who was saying that. I think he said he almost thought it was the corner, so that he wanted to stop the fight sooner than he even would have on his own. So the whole thing overall with Dan, it causes a lot of confusion. But at the end of the day, he was just trying to help someone's safety. You know,
Hmm.
I can't blame him. But should this happen again? Probably not. I don't think Herb Dean's gonna make that mistake again. But the next guy, the next ref, who knows? I don't think this type of thing will ever stop. But
No.
it's just a matter of who's gonna react to it. Are the
It's such a
commentators
hard
gonna do
job,
it?
man.
Yeah, it's Herb. I love you, Herb. I love you so much, but you got a hard job, and I'm not gonna expect you to, as a fan, you know, make every decision perfect. But you know, you just got to improve. You
It's
can't go
just
Steve Mazzagatti on me. You know, I'm not gonna like you for that, as if my like feelings towards you matter. But you know what I mean. I think I speak for everybody when I say like nobody likes Steve Mazzagatti.
How dare you?
Don't be a Steve Mazzagatti. Not saying you are Mr. Herb or any other ref, but just you know, in the end, I like what Dane is doing, and I think it's good that he's taking a hard stance on it because it's a big issue right now that needs to be addressed.
I I it's with these referees, it's always the situation of you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. You know, like I guarantee you. Um, nah, with this particular case, I can't say that if he had stopped it earlier, people would be saying it was stopped too early. I can't say that with this one. But in a lot of situations, it's oh you stopped it too early or you stopped it too late, and like it's it's always a lose-lose situation for some of these refs. You know,
Yeah.
people are never going to be really happy with it. Um, but I get where Dana's coming from with this. I didn't think it was a good idea for Dan to do that. I understand the emotional reaction and stuff, but I don't think it's wrong to criticize referees and judges. Just do it properly, you know? Like I keep hearing this argument that's like, oh well, there's no real way for these guys to address their grievances with these referees and judges, so this is what happens. They lash out. I don't know, man. I don't think that's exactly like uh, warranted. I think there is ways to address it, you know, like for example, Paul Felder addressed it in the at the desk, like after like when they were doing the post fight press conference. I think that's okay, you know? I think Dan Hardy made this whole video where he like broke down everything about it. It was like an hour long live stream about why it was bad and this and that. And I think that's okay too. But when you just get in a shouting match with someone right octagon side and you're yelling stop the fight when that's not your position to do so, it isn't a good look for anybody. It makes things look chaotic and unprofessional, and I think Herb's point about creating confusion is very valid. Yeah, I don't know. The whole situation kind of sucked. I didn't think it was a very good stoppage. I didn't like the way Dan reacted. I thought he brought up some good things. I thought at some points he was being a little childish. Like the whole, I could do his job, he could never do mine. It's like, fuck off, dude. Like that's just
I think
stop
Herb would
with
be
that.
a fantastic commentator. I think he would be. I love listening to him talk about fights.
Maybe.
He's so relaxing and calm to
Yeah.
listen to, isn't he? Even when he was explaining his decision in that video, looked like he recorded it in a McDonald's. But it was so nice
It was
to just hear
very
him.
loud. The background was very loud during
Yeah.
that video.
I love
I don't
that
know
chill
where he
attitude. He
was.
doesn't give a fuck. He's
Yeah,
like, I'm
he's
just
very
gonna
chill
record
dude.
this in this random area because fuck you, Dan Hardy. But all right, maybe that's not what he did. That's not what he did. But that's what I like to think. He's just a very zen guy who doesn't really look too much into things, and he just kind of, does.
Yeah, he
What
doesn't look into when his fighter is unconscious, so he just lets
Okay,
it
I
go.
wasn't really regarding that. I'm talking more when he. Okay, yeah, you're right. Let's be honest. He wasn't really looking in for the fighter's health there.
Speaking of referees, I want to talk about another referee that I think is fantastic. His name is Mark Goddard.
Oh.
Now, a few days ago, I think it was 2 days ago, another MMA organization made its how do I say this? What kind of comeback would you say they've made?
I'm not sure the right word for this.
They came back. Let's say that.
Yes, they came back.
UAE Warriors, for all you kids out there, that is United Arab Emirates Warriors. They are a pretty small organization. So small that they live streamed their MMA event on YouTube and it got about 5,000 people watching, which, hey, good going, guys. But anyway, the biggest story coming out of this, you could say this is good or bad because, I mean, does anyone talk about UAE Warriors ever? It's the only thing people are talking about in regards to UAE Warriors. I never heard of it prior to this, but a fighter named Ahmad Al-Darmaki was in a fight with some other dude whose name I didn't bother to research. And the fight was atrocious. Like, it was so bad. It was like a subpar sparring match. So much so that Mark Goddard had to stop them at one point and be like, guys, you gotta, like, pick it up. It's a fight. Like, they were barely touching each other. It was sad. But anyway, they got on the ground, and Al-Darmaki got his opponent in a rear naked choke, and the dude tapped, and then Mark Goddard had to like yank Al-Darmaki off because he wouldn't let go of the choke. Now, he didn't hold it to a point where it's like, oh my god, he could have killed that man. He held it to a point where it's like, the dude will be fine, but like, you did a shitty thing. Like, you're just kind of a shitbag for doing that. And then he gets up and starts shoving the shit out of Mark Goddard and like grabbing him by the collar and stuff. And the best part was this Al-Darmaki guy is really small. I don't know what weight class this fight was at, but he's a small dude.
He was at 85 pounds? I don't know.
85 pounds. Yeah, small guy, very unimpressive record. He was like 3-5 or 2-5.
No, don't give him that much. He's 2-6. Oh no, he was 2-5 before this. You're right. I'm sorry.
Now he's.
I spoiled it for you.
2-6. But anyway, he starts shoving Mark Goddard, and the best part is he can't move Mark Goddard. So he is shoving him full force. Like, you could tell he's putting his whole effort into him. Mark Goddard does not move because Mark Goddard's a big dude and probably way stronger and tougher than him. And he starts grabbing him by the collar and threatening him and all this nonsense. And then he got DQ'd. It was really funny. Not really anything remarkable that happened other than that. I don't know if you're UAE Warriors. What do you think about this? I mean, they put out a statement that's like, we're ashamed of the behavior of our fighter and blah blah blah. But hey, at the same time, they're getting recognition that nobody probably could have expected. I mean, does anyone give a single shit about UAE Warriors prior to this altercation? Like, the referee was the most well-known person in that octagon.
100%, yeah. I love Mark Goddard.
Matt is falling asleep as we talk
him.
about UAE Warriors.
Look, I don't know. Are they still employing this fighter? That's the big question.
That's a good.
They haven't said anything about it.
I think they suspended him, but I don't think they like fired him outright.
I mean, he's not a very good fighter. His record, he's not. It's not, But I feel like if this was Dana, that guy would be out on the street immediately before the fight even ended. Officially when they did the announcements. So I don't know why he would do that. I don't know what kind of animosity he had towards his opponent where he wouldn't let go of the choke, but you can't do that. That's a fatal error right there. That could kill somebody and permanently damage them. You're a lot of people don't know this, but your brain, it needs oxygen. And when you don't let it have oxygen, bad things happen. So I cannot say enough how much I despise this person. And I hope they fire him. I really do. But he brought some nice recognition to their, organization, because I've never heard of them before I saw this. And it makes you wonder, was this all planned out? Did this man, was he told to do this and then to attack Mark Goddard to get recognition? Think about it.
Conspiracy. By the way, this guy's a featherweight. I just found out, in case anyone give the shit.
He looks like he weighs 85 pounds. But that's because he's standing next to Mark Goddard. That dude weighs at least 400 kilos.
Dude, you Google this guy's name, and the only thing that comes up is the DQ. The only thing.
I've got to tune into the next one just for the memes. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing. I have no idea when it is. I can't find it.
I don't think they have another one booked yet.
Okay.
That might be it.
Is it a one and done?
It was number 12, so obviously they haven't had that many. But they really don't seem to have a plan here. And from the record, it looks like they only have 36 fighters. So they're so small that, I imagine booking a full night of fights is kind of hard with that few people, you know what I mean? But that being said, you could sign up on their website, join them. I highly recommend it. I heard the pay is great. They've got a huge streaming service, quality matchmaking.
Matthew.
Yes.
Do we try to sign me up for UAE Warriors?
Yes.
We make it like a whole segment on the podcast. We can make like because I'm looking at the application right now. They don't ask for anything. Like the only thing that would keep me from doing it is if they asked for my SSN or my credit card number or something. But they don't ask for any of that shit. It's just name, nickname, phone number, email, professional record, amateur record, your weight, nationality, country of residence, date of birth, languages spoken, all of them.
They ask for action videos of you training and stuff too. You could put your Warzone gameplay in there. That'd be great.
For action photo, I think we could use that photo of me shirtless with a chainsaw in one hand and a beer in the other.
Yeah. I like that.
Let's do it.
Titles. Do you have any titles, Kyle?
What title? What?
It says titles. Example: TFC middleweight champion.
UFC heavyweight champion.
Okay. Tell us your story. What's your story? I wonder. From the streets of West Side, Kyle Crozy rose to the top.
I fought drug dealers and pimps all the way across Scranton, Pennsylvania. Southern Philly. I'm from North Philly, sir. Thank you very much.
That's why I said Southern Philly can't have nothing on you.
Oh, You see, I'm stupid.
That's what you'll put as this. Just say.
What's
Tell
my
us your.
nickname? What's my fighter nickname?
Oh man, you don't want to mess that one up. Put your
Is it
phone number as the nickname.
is it Atlantic City Puker? Maybe.
No, Atlantic Kyle. No, that doesn't work.
Atlantic.
I think Atlantic City Kyle is good.
For just for context for anyone that is curious, the name Atlantic City Puker comes from the time that Matthew and I went to Atlantic City and I got food poisoning and vomited on the beach and then proceeded to vomit about 13 to 15 more times before going home in shame.
It was a wonderful experience.
A great trip.
Everyone should do that.
A great
Thank
trip.
you, Claridge, for housing us during that pandemic.
Thank you, Hard Rock Cafe, for giving me chicken that almost killed me.
We'll be returning.
I actually thought I was gonna die.
Yeah, I also thought you were gonna die.
Probably lost about 20 pounds, dude. That's how I gotta cut weight to make it into UAE Warriors flyweight division.
What's your amateur record?
Undefeated.
Professional?
Undefeated.
Height?
Undefeated.
Weight category super heavy. Yo.
We're gonna do this. We are going to. Here's the thing. You could also contact them so you can go to contact us, and then they redirect you if you're an agent or a fighter and you want to sign up for that. But then you could also you could contact them. It just says name, email, and then department, and the categories in department are talent, sponsorship, media, broadcasting, and streaming, and as well as partners. And then you just type a message to them. Here's what we have two options here. We could either try to sign me up to fight in UAE Warriors. I don't even know where in the UAE. I guess I would imagine Abu Dhabi, maybe Saudi Arabia. I don't know.
I think it's Abu Dhabi.
Okay. So we could either do that. We could sign me up to become a UAE Warrior fighter, and do that as like a segment on the podcast where we like screen record it and do all that nonsense. Or we could contact them as Caffeinated Combat, and I'd ask to be like, I don't know, affiliated. We should ask them to sponsor us.
Yo.
Dude, and we can cover UAE Warrior events.
Fuck yeah, dude. I'm down.
Is this a thing that we could do? How about this? Let's do both.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
do both.
You got the best of both worlds right here.
So we try to sign me up as a fighter. So we use my name, all my information, my photos, and all that. But then you could sign us up for Caffeinated Combat.
Yeah.
So we'll use your name, and we'll use the Caffeinated Combat email, and I guess we'll pick broadcasting and streaming, and then we could be like, or media maybe. Yeah, we'll do media. And we'd be like, hey, we're huge fans. We'd like to become affiliated with you. We're experts, and we could lie and be like, we are famous for this and this. Our YouTube podcast is the most viewed MMA podcast of all time. Just like all this random shit that's not true. And we'll see if they believe us and try to become UAE Warrior, I don't know, commentators.
Man, imagine if they gave us a commentating position. Oh man.
Well, that's not going to happen, but
imagine if they tried to, though. That's how like horrible their fact checking is.
Dude, this is how we get into the industry, all right? I don't know about you. It's been a dream of mine to work in the MMA world for a very long time. Not as a fighter, because I can't fight. I did Taekwondo for like a year when I was in fucking middle school. I am not a fighter. I don't even weigh 125 pounds, so I couldn't be a flyweight even if I wanted to. But I've always wanted to be affiliated in the MMA industry in some way, whether that be like a podcaster or a journalist or a broadcaster or an agent or a manager. I would love to do that. Dude, I want to be Ali Abdelaziz. That's who I want to be.
You kind of look like him too.
Yeah, dude, I look just like him.
So this is our pathway into the light. You could
This is
say.
how we do it.
This is how
UAE
we make it in the
Warriors.
world.
Here we come. I have no idea when your next event is, but if you tell me, I'll promote it. Dude, I don't
Bro,
give
I
a
think
shit.
they're done after this. They're bankrupt.
God damn it! Don't say that, Matt.
Fuck.
We're trying to get hired here, bro.
Damn it.
What are you doing?
This is our employer right here.
This is our job interview.
Jesus fuck.
Right now.
Well, it was a good try. Unfortunately, they just went out of business. Declared stage 4 bankruptcy.
Here's the thing. I'll try to spin as your head promoter for UAE Warriors, which I am now. I will try to spin the Mark Goddard, whatever that dude's name was, situation to make Mark Goddard look bad and make your organization look great. We'll say Mark Goddard smelled of cigarettes and alcohol,
Yeah,
and
100%.
We'll have Dan Hardy yell at him. And what else could we do? We could say we could have Dana say some shit. You know, Dana will get up there and talk shit on the guy probably if we make something up and try to. Here's the thing: there's gonna be a lot of lying involved. You know,
You don't get into the business without deceit. You know,
Yeah,
you can't be honest with
we
yourself.
gotta just we gotta lie. We gotta try to slander some people.
Yeah.
Try to sabotage.
You got to
some
do
stuff.
some dirty boxing to get in here. You
A
know.
little dirty boxing. Dude. That could be the name of our. I don't know.
Well, we're not in boxing. We're in MMA. Fuck. We've already
Yeah,
derailed
but dirty
our plan.
boxing is a thing in MMA.
Yeah, but the casual people are just going to be like, that's boxing. Our new employers are going to be like, these guys are terrible at marketing themselves.
Well, here's the thing, bro. We don't appeal to you casual fucks, all right? We appeal to the hardcore UAE Warrior fans, all right? Those 5,000 people that watch that YouTube stream,
They're our audience.
that's
You
the
know?
hardcores, brother. That's the hardcore. Let's see what they're at now. Let's see how many streams that view or how many views that stream has. Bro, it has 160K views. That ain't bad.
That's not bad.
That ain't bad
for
at all.
What
But
I was
how many
expecting.
people look that up
Because of what
because of
happened.
the Mark Goddard thing?
But that's the thing. We could be the controversy people. We'll create chaos in their organization to get views. You know what I mean?
Right.
The chaos representatives.
Okay, here's their little bio that they have in their YouTube description. UAE Warriors, established in 2012, Abu Dhabi Abu Dhabi Warriors? It's Abu Dhabi Warriors, not United Arab Emirates? I get that it's kind of the same thing. Like Abu Dhabi is the United Arab Emirates, they're part of the same. It's just okay. Abu Dhabi Warriors has cultivated an international reputation amongst industry leaders and fans alike through the consistent delivery of action-packed matchups and top-tier production. Conceptualized as a platform for local and international fighters to showcase their combat skills and entertain audiences across the globe, Abu Dhabi Warriors has to date realized 10 events across 5 nations with an additional 7 shows scheduled for 2019. Well, it's 2020 now. Relaunched in January 2019 under the revamped management of Palm Sports, the unprecedented success attained in terms of both production and fan engagement resulted in the evolution of the brand to encompass and proudly represent the nation as a whole. In March 2019, the organization was rebranded under the banner UAE Warriors. Okay, so the UAE Warriors is a rebrand, accompanied by announcements of revolutionary nationwide and global operations to be launched within the coming months. So, UAE Warriors is the new name, I guess. Oh, you know why? This probably also has a lot of views, not just the whole Mark Goddard situation. Khabib's cousin was
That's
on this.
right, yeah.
Usman Nurmagomedov. I believe he won as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was in Abu Dhabi. You were right, at the Jiu-Jitsu Arena.
That's a
okay.
very interesting arena.
Oh
Jesus.
man, he's falling asleep again. He's not. Listen, dude, you need to start getting excited about UAE Warriors. All right, lucky number 13 is coming up someday.
Lucky number 13.
UAE Warriors number 13 is coming up at some point. They have 15K followers on almost 16K followers on Instagram. We gotta bump those numbers up, kids.
It's almost as much as we have.
There was one more thing I wanted to talk about, briefly wanted to talk about, that we forgot to talk about last
Oh,
week.
dude, I completely forgot to tell. I was gonna completely disregard it. I forgot again.
Exactly.
Go on.
That is Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. How do you feel about this? You don't have to go to it. I know you don't. Ultimately, you don't really give a shit about it, but
I kind
briefly.
of do, but here's the thing. I would be opposed to this if it was something like Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell, where it's someone who's kind of completely washed up and way out of the prime state that they were once in, fighting against someone who's actually, kind of still in their prime. I would hate to see Mike Tyson come back and fight a modern day boxer who is still fighting and, performing well and then get absolutely destroyed. But that's not the case here. He's fighting Roy Jones Jr., who is also just as retired as he is, if I'm correct, right? And
What did you just as retired? Is that what you
yeah,
said?
he's retired as well. He hasn't fought in a while, as far as I'm
I believe
concerned,
he
right?
fought in 2017,
Okay,
and then
so
Mike
yeah.
in like the early 2000s, like
Oh
2006 or something like that.
God.
Yeah.
Well, in the end, they're still both retired, so it's not the worst thing in the world, and I think it's good that it's not. I don't think there's going to be a decision at the end if anything doesn't happen. So it's not
What do
like
you mean?
like I believe if there's a finish, there'll be a decided winner, but if there's no finish, there's no winner or something like that, and it's only 8 rounds. So
Really?
yeah, it's going to be an unofficial victory if it goes to decision. Basically, the fans can just pick who wins. Um,
That's weird.
it's a really weird event, but with all those rules being in there and it being a very unusual event, I think it's going to be fun. It's
Yeah.
not like a super serious thing, like, you know what I mean? And Jake Paul is fighting on the other card, so I mean,
Oh,
it's going
fuck
to sell
him.
millions. I want to see, hear me out. I want to see Jake Paul go into the UFC and fight CM Punk. That is a fun fight. Both of them are very near each other in terms of skill, and why not? I'm pretty
You know
sure CM Punk is
we
still
have Stipe
signed.
Miocic and Daniel Cormier in a few weeks. You know that, right?
Yeah, but no one cares about them
Yeah, that's
when
true.
Jake Paul is here, dude.
They're terrible fighters.
Yeah,
Um,
Stipe hasn't won in years.
interesting, interesting thing. According to MMAfighting.com, the price point for this pay-per-view, the Roy Jones Jr. Mike Tyson pay-per-view, is going to be $50. I didn't expect that. I
Ah,
thought it would have been a little cheaper.
that's not very friendly at all, now is
I
it?
thought it would have been a little cheaper. The event will take place at Dignity Health Sports Park. Ironic name for in Carson,
Dignity.
California. Ironic name for everything that's happening, especially in California right now. Will be streamed through cable, satellite, and social media platform Thriller. Or Triller?
Thriller.
Triller.
So you have to
T
sign up for a
R
new.
I L L E R. That's
That might must be
it's
some
a
kind of.
new thing, I believe.
Yeah.
I want to say Mike owns it. Let me Google
Oh,
it real quick.
interesting.
It's a new platform, I believe. Um, no, never mind. I was totally wrong about that. It's not owned by Mike. Not that new. It was founded in 2015. Um, I guess it's like a TikTok style app. TikTok sued by rival video app Triller over patent dispute. Oh boy. So they're going to be fighting on a glorified TikTok app. That's pretty cool.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, I don't here's the thing about this fight. Oh, also another interesting note, they scheduled it on September 12th. Canelo Alvarez is thinking he may fight on September 12th as well. He doesn't have an opponent yet, but according to Eddie Hearn, it might be WBA super middleweight champion Callum Smith. We'll see if that happens. I don't know. Boxing events typically take months and months. Boxing events of this caliber, like Canelo Alvarez, Gennady Golovkin, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao caliber, they take like years to make. So I don't know if they're gonna have. I guess right now everything is kind of special circumstance, so we'll see. But September 12th, that's real close to not even have an opponent. Um, if either promoter was intelligent, and I mean the promoter for the Canelo fight and the promoter for the Tyson fight, you gotta switch those days. Somebody's gotta switch the date. Probably neither of them want to budge,
Right.
but I think as of now, DAZN is gonna hold up on the Canelo fight, which seems like probably the smart thing to do. Um, because regardless of whether you like it or not, this Tyson fight is gonna be a really big deal. I really think people are going to be disappointed. I think it's going to be a huge disappointment for everyone. That's my honest and cynical prediction on it. But it's going to be a big deal because it's Mike Tyson. He's one of the most famous boxers of all time. Everyone knows who Mike Tyson is. Everyone's going to be watching that fight. It's a huge deal, especially now that like there's not a lot in terms of sports happening. With that being said, do I like that this is happening? No, because this is proof that boxing is like not progressing the way it should be, right? So like you have these outliers that put on great performances and people will watch them. People like Canelo, people like Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, like that's
Right.
that's top tier boxing right there. But it's so infrequent and it's so unreliable that people are more likely to subscribe to these carnival acts, these vanity carnival acts. That that's what Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. is. It's like this carny thing, It's like some shit you'd see in Bellator, where Bellator has all like Bellator is similar in that they struggle to really find this young talent and cultivate it in the proper way. That's something I've said for a while now, and I still stand by it. Um, and then you end up making fights like Fedor and Chael, where it's like both of these guys are way out of their prime. The fight does not need to happen. It's not competitive, and it just feels weird. It
It
feels like
doesn't give you any
old guy
info on how
fights.
the fighters are because they're not in their prime.
It's a
It gives you
carnival
no
act, man.
information on you know what I mean. Like if Chael was at his prime and Fedor was at his prime and they both fought, like that it would be very different in my opinion.
Yeah, and
I
Chael would
don't like
destroy him.
yeah, easily 100%. I hate the fact that we have these fights that like with Anderson Silva and Conor McGregor, something like that. Like they just it doesn't tell us anything about the progression of the fighters in the sport because they're not in their prime, and you're always going to be asking, well, what could have been if this and if that, and rightly so. I do that as well. I don't blame the fans for thinking that way. But when you have these people fighting that are completely they're old men, let's just be honest. It just doesn't
Yeah.
give you much information. There's nothing competitively interesting about this other than pure spectacle. It's going to be entertaining because of who they are. It's going to be fun to watch, and that's it. And I don't think that's a bad thing per se, but I would agree with you when you talk about how boxing isn't necessarily progressing in the best way. I think that's a good observation. But I really don't know how this is gonna go down. I see
It's
Mike's training videos. He looks good, but I mean, it's training. How's
yeah,
he gonna
those can be
perform when he gets in
deceiving.
there? I mean, I've seen CM Punk train and he looked decent, and so I think it's gonna be fun, but I think it's gonna be disappointing in the
Yeah.
end.
It,
You know,
it's gotta be like it feels like one of those things that like you'd sit around with your buddies and talk about like having a few beers like, oh, what if Mike Tyson was to fight Roy Jones Jr. in their prime, and like, but you don't actually want that to happen. It's because they're old now, and like you don't want to see this. It's two old men. And do you really want to see a 50-year-old get knocked out? You don't need to have that,
Mike
man. Come
Perry
on.
would,
Hey, yeah, it's a good point.
Conor
Hey,
McGregor would.
he's a changed man now, Mike
That's
Perry.
true.
How
He's
dare you?
he's religious now. He runs
How
a
dare you?
church in the South. He's a good dude.
Lattori changed him. All right, the baby's on its way. The baby's gonna make him a better man.
Wait until the Platinum Princess comes out, though. Just
Shit.
wait.
Yeah,
It's
wait
gonna be
until she
some
gets
shit.
on JRE like she thinks she will.
I don't think she's gonna ever really do anything. I
You
feel
don't
like
think?
she would have by now. I don't know what the fuck she's waiting for.
Just waiting for that clout
I mean,
chasing.
maybe she's trying to use it as a way to, get some money, but like, come on. It's been
Yeah.
like 2 weeks already, and you haven't done anything. Like, why are you making this like an event? Just tell us. Like, it's not an event. Domestic abuse isn't something to be like coddled like that. And
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah, I
know.
have an announcement.
Like,
You will have to
it's
wait.
yeah, it doesn't seem too serious if you're not
You will have to
fucking coming out and
subscribe to
saying
my
shit.
premium channel to
Ah.
learn of my.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not real. I'm just saying she's handling it the wrong way.
Yeah, I would
You
agree
know?
with that.
Like
Yeah, it feels sleazy.
yeah, domestic abuse or which is what she's hinting at is
Mhm.
not something to be treated like this. It's serious. It's not a show. Why
Yeah.
are you have
Why do you
everyone's
need to get
attention? Why do you
on
need
one
more?
of the biggest podcasts in the world to talk about it?
I don't know.
Like,
It feels
what-
weird to
Yeah.
me.
Like, if you really want to speak up about it, like, you could do it
Yeah,
yourself.
if
You
it's
don't need
serious,
Rogan
yeah,
to do it for you.
you're not going to need that. That's just like something you maybe want for yourself. I don't know
You
what
want
to
the popularity.
But I don't think you should do that. It's bigger. This issue is bigger than popularity.
Right.
But that's another story.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, who knows what'll happen? You know, if she'll ever come out and say anything, or if this was all just to make Lattori mad. Who knows what the fuck's going on? Who knows, dude?
Lattori Gonzalez, you're taking everything I work for, motherfucker.
Mike Perry has come out and said that she's a sleazeball herself. I mean, who knows who to believe here? This is like one weird collection of individuals that I just don't know who the fuck they are. They're all just facades, you know?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Can't trust any of them.
No, I really don't. I only trust Lattori because she seems like actually sane. You know?
Yeah, I feel bad for her.
Yeah, she's in a weird spot, but
She's
I mean,
young
she
and
seems happy.
Seems
but,
like a decent person. And,
yeah.
oh well,
None of
greatest
my
corner,
business.
corner person of 2020, Lattori Gonzalez.
Head movement.
Head movement.
Head movement. No, Edmund Shahbazyan.
I hate fucking Edmund.
I do too. Tyverdian. Targadorian. Whatever the fuck
Yeah.
his name is.
Yeah. The Game of Thrones
Yes.
name.
100%. Anything else you wanted to discuss, brother?
Make sure you follow UAE Warriors on Instagram.
Our newest partners. A forced partnership on our
So,
end.
what day is it today? Sunday?
Yes.
When do you wanna do our UAE Warriors episode?
Let's do it tomorrow. If you're free.
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
Oh, this is gonna be
Tomorrow we figure
Yeah.
out. Okay. Do you think I should make some videos tonight of me quote unquote training?
Good. Yes.
Like it'll be horrific.
Have
like it's gonna
Fred
look
hold like
it's gonna
baking
look
equipment
bad.
as like pads.
It's gonna
I
look
don't know.
real bad, but like that's the point. It's supposed to be shit.
100%, dude. Show them your sidekick. You'll get in instantly. This is the best thing you ever seen. Just start rear naked choking like pillows and shit. I
A
don't know.
pillow, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Okay,
Start
yeah,
pile driving them.
I use my pillow as like a bag. Oh man, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be real fun. It might take a little bit to edit everything together, so don't expect we'll do it tomorrow. But like, stay tuned.
This is big, bro.
This is big. This is the biggest point of our careers. So
Oh
we're
my
gonna
God.
we're gonna try to affiliate ourselves with them as a medium member.
Right.
Us meaning you and I, Caffeinated Combat, the podcast, the brand of Caffeinated Combat, and then me, Kyle Thomas Carosi, is gonna become a UAE warrior. This is my path.
What
This
if
is
they
my journey.
kidnap you and like take you out to Abu Dhabi?
What if they're like, hey, we'll give you 10 grand to go fight this dude?
dude,
that-
would you actually do it if they gave you 10 grand to go fight someone in Abu Dhabi?
if they're also paying for like the plane and the
Yeah,
hotel and I
Oh
would.
my god, dude!
I would,
imagine that.
Because I would just what would happen is I would go for a takedown, they would stuff it, they would get on my back and they'd put me in a rear naked choke and I'd tap and that'd be
or
it.
they would
And-
just beat you to death. Hopefully, they would just choke you out, but who knows? Just get in, dude, and just fall over and start tapping violently on the canvas.
Yeah.
Get me out of here.
Dude, for 10 grand I would do it.
Start attacking the ref.
No,
Go after
'cause
the
then-
ref as if he's the fighter.
Because then I get fined.
Ah,
And
that's
then
true.
I'd lose
Yeah.
money. But I would go in a UAE Warriors cage and get beat in under a minute for 10 grand. I would
I'd be
do that.
cornering you, dude. I'd be screaming head movement the whole time.
I would do that because ultimately you have a ref there. You know, I'm not just gonna like die, right?
Dude, what if you walked in, it was just Steve Mazzagatti?
Oh no.
You instantly just
I
walk
would be
out.
so scared. No, no, it like the referee would matter a lot to
Oh,
me.
yeah.
The referee, I think, would matter to me more than the opponent because I'd be like, okay, this is the guy that's gonna get
It's
me out of
Khabib's
there as
brother.
quick. Oh, see that'd be scary. No, there's certain people I wouldn't do it. Like if you were like, hey, you can go in there and fight uh Stipe for 10 grand, I'd be like, no, it's fine. I'm good.
Appreciate it. Would you fight CM Punk, though? I feel like you'd beat him.
No, I wouldn't beat him. I wouldn't beat him.
I don't think CM Punk would beat you.
I wouldn't beat him. I would certainly favor my chances over like someone good, but he would still beat me. I'm not a fighter, you
We could
know.
train you, bro. Don't even worry. I got you.
Who is gonna train
CM
me?
Punk, you taking everything I worked for, motherfucker.
Who's gonna
Fight
train me?
your
You?
fucking ass. Yeah. Willow and I. Willow
Yeah,
will
but
chase you,
I would go
give
get
you cardio.
beat in a cage for 10 grand because it like because I wouldn't really like once I started getting hit, I wouldn't fight back. Like I would turtle up and like that would be it.
If
If
you
I
got in there and you just beat the fuck out of him, you just became an animal. The
It'll
adrenaline
never
kicked
happen.
in.
Never happen in a million years. But if I actually tried, that's what would get me beat
Dude,
up.
I have an
Because
idea.
of what?
Only train flying knees, and when you go into the fight, only throw flying knees over and over again, like you're playing the UFC games, just spamming the flying knee button.
You see,
How
dude,
fucking funny would that be?
I've tried flying knees like in real life. Like I've tried to do like after I saw Jorge do it, I was like,
Right.
let me see if I get it's really hard.
Yeah, it's not easy. You gotta
It's really hard to
you gotta
do.
be athletic as fuck to do
You
them
got to be
properly.
real athletic. And guess what? I am not like even
That's
in the
why we're gonna
slightest.
change you, bro. You're gonna
Like,
be
dude, if I
the
run
UAE
around the
Warrior.
block, I will be done. Like, I have no athleticism in me at all. I'm totally not in shape. I'm skinny, but like, I have no muscle. I have no cardio. I have nothing.
You
I'm
think
not
they
an
have
athlete.
USADA over there? We're gonna get you on the juice, baby.
I don't want to juice up, man. That
It's
scares
not your
me.
decision. It's our decision now. You're a UAE warrior.
All right.
We're gonna stuff
So
you to the gills with juice.
we're gonna sign me up. We're gonna see what happens. It's gonna be great. Stay tuned, everybody. I hope you're all as invested in this as I am. I am super into this.
Dude,
I
I am
can't
too.
wait, dude. I can't wait to make these videos tonight.
This is gonna be
like,
fucking awesome.
I just got to figure out a way to film it because like I don't have like
Get Freddy Fazbear.
We'll see. Maybe I could just like lean my iPhone onto my laptop and have it. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Just
It's fine.
blast like cartoons in the background too.
I do film production. This is my career, and I'm like, I don't know how to film it. Film
We'll
production
figure
is
it
like
out.
what I want to do in life. Well, I don't have like if I had a camera and a tripod, it'd be no big deal. But I don't have any of that equipment here, so
Make
If
a
I-
homemade one.
if I was in Philly right now, it'd be a different story, dude. Dude.
Imagine if you had like the studios and stuff.
Oh, my
man,
God. Dude,
You
I
could
would have
make
the
something
proper lighting.
crazy.
We would have steady cams. We would have gimbals and dude, we could have made it so cool.
All right, so
We could've
first
made
up,
me-
we got to do the Philly heist. We break in and do the videos there, and then
Well,
we'll do the video.
I need Temple's equipment though. Like I don't own all that equipment myself.
I know
you
that's why we're breaking into Temple.
Oh, okay. Okay. Please do not say that on the podcast so I don't get expelled. um But
I actually
yeah.
said bringing in the Memples. You know.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, that's what I thought you said. But dude, if I was in Philly right now and I like had my friends and stuff and equipment, oh dude, we could have made it look so cool. I mean, cool being like we could have made it look as stupid as possible, but like the
In the
production
best way, yeah.
could have actually been like
Oh man.
interesting. You know, I have a friend at school who I'm not gonna say his name in case he is not cool with that, but this guy was on American Ninja Warrior.
Holy shit! Really?
Like he's like a gymnast and stuff. Like he told me one time he thought he could maybe make it to the UFC and fight Demetrius Johnson. He's a smaller guy. And I was like, okay, that's
Do
cool.
it.
That's cool that you think he was serious, dude.
I was going to Asia to fight him at one championship.
He was serious about that, and I was like, are you joke? Like,
Have you seen this guy fight?
I hope you're joking. Dude, I don't care if you could make 125. Demetrius Johnson is one of the greatest fighters to ever live. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Dude, I got triggered so hard when he was like, one day I could join the UFC and maybe fight DJ for the flyweight championship. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, brother? You need to stop with that nonsense right now.
He's got dreams, bro. He's got all the dreams.
I should just go onto his Instagram and take all his like gymnastic videos and put them in my UAE Warriors application.
Dude. You gotta get in somehow.
This has gotta be organic. I gotta make this stuff myself.
Make sure you're in your underwear too.
I'm not gonna do it in my underwear, but I'll do it shirtless.
Oh, of course.
I'll do it shirtless so you can see my skinny, depressing, pathetic body at work.
What if they just sue us for this?
What could they sue us for?
Being a horrible fighter. Nah, I'm kidding. They can't sue us.
UAE Warriors are taking everything I work for, motherfucker.
We'll work on this for you, Ren. Don't worry. But I think that's it. I got nothing else to talk about.
I'm so excited, bro.
We're gonna get some juicy content for you people.
It's gonna be great.
It'll be good.
It's gonna be great. Adios, friends.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Ren.
Everybody, as if there's
all 24 of you that have watched all hour and 24 minutes of this. And goodbye.